Mm.
Yeah, I don't notice it. It's all good in the hood. All right, I am recording.
From the industrial wastelands of Michigan to the fruited plains of Iowa, this is the
Why
American Greed
relator
Factory.
is chip capacity.
You are the dead. Remain exactly where you are. Make no move until you are ordered.
We burn them to ashes and then burn the ashes. That's our official motto.
Now we can see you. Clasp your hands behind your heads. Stand out in the middle of the room. Stand back to back.
Who can explain the fascination of fire? What draws us to it, whether we're young or old?
Here comes a candle to light you to bed. Here comes a chopper to chop off your head.
And welcome to the American Greed Factory podcast. This is Nathan.
Andrew.
Another exciting week this week. A lot of happy stuff to not talk about. Things to avoid. We made it, though.
Mm.
We're all still alive.
Damn it.
Well, yeah, depending on your point of view.
Oh,
Oh, yeah? Okay. So there's no, no one gains rank from it or anything. Yeah. What can you not do? I mean, as far as I'm concerned, you can bring a crowbar into the ring. Just bloody. Thumbtacks. Those are. Oh my God! Yeah, yeah. That's. Yeah, it's no fun when pretty ladies are getting beat up by men. But however, it's a couple pretty ladies. It's like, yeah, do it. Go off the ropes. The thumbtacks on the back. Oh. I still remember those. Some of those YouTube videos you sent me still haunt me, where the guys are doing like the real local grade wrestling, where you're like in a a VFW hall, and they're like throwing guys on a table full of the long light bulbs, fluorescent light too. And these people are just like, they're just running around and just covered in blood, just 1,000 little cuts. But it's still like, oh, and these guys are probably not even getting paid. They're just doing it because they love it. Yeah. Yeah. Not even getting free beer from this one. Right. Right. Yeah, the concussive head trauma, the torn ligaments, like all that stuff. That's not going to heal up in a couple days.
Mm.
Yeah, I've never had a sword through my lower intestine. However, I have stepped on broken glass. Um, yeah, it's still amazing to see.
Oh, that's fucking weird.
Yeah, the old citric acid in the mouth wounds is not good. Yeah, they just call him the wound.
Mm.
Yeah, you're locked in. Yeah, you don't go like become a heart surgeon after that. It's what's up with Bumpy over there, man? It's a long story.
Mm.
Yeah, you could actually see it. Uh, yeah. I mean, have you ever seen like what? Oh, I remember when I was a teenager, like the freak show circuses made that weird comeback. Like you had the first Lollapaloozas, you had the circus acts that would go, or instead of having opening band acts, or in addition to the band acts, they'd have people that like would drive giant nails into their nasal cavity with hammers and sword swallowers and stuff like that. Like I didn't really appreciate how dangerous that was until I saw people like, oh, that guy's sticking a sword. I mean, it's going into your digestive tract and down, and it. I mean, they're all custom made. Like you're not no one's just randomly handing you a sword from the crowd. They're all special made, but still, guys are getting 5 or 6 swords in their gut. It's like wow. And the guys that like they just jam the nails. I mean, it's a performance art, but it's still like, oh, it's abusive and it's hard to see. And sometimes when you feel it going wrong, it's like, well, the show must go on, and just blood spraying out everywhere. It's like, yeah, all that stuff is, like I said, it's a performance, but it's also, if you really make a study of it and watch things, it's like, oh, this is brutal. This is just not, this is not like a thing you can write off. It's like, oh, there's a craft to this, and there's a sad story behind this, and all that good stuff. Yeah.
Mm. Mm.
Yeah. I mean, again, it is a performance art, but it is still not something you'd want. It's not something you'd want for a job. I always like the writing. Some of the writing stories I hear from wrestling are interesting. It's like I think the best part of wrestling would be the writers' room because they seem to. It's like yeah, go wild, but we're going in this direction. Um, that's the one I know about. Well, a lot of comedians on. Yeah, I did not know that. I knew about Posehn. I knew about there's a bunch of other people that have been on Joe Rogan that always like to tweak him about, hey, pro wrestling's fun. He gets all mad. No, it's not real. It's not like the shit I report on. It's like, well, yeah, it's drama and stuff. It's it's artificial, but it's entertaining because you're going to root for the same people every year. And not someone's not going to get spin kicked, and it's like, well, the guy I liked is now brain dead, so I can't watch him anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, because you're waiting for this thing to happen. The crowd's on their feet. I think it's one of the most diverse fan bases, though, because I know for a long time it was like, well, that's like like the redneck kids and stuff are into that, and then it became like, oh no, it's like Star Trek. There's all kinds of people into it for all kinds of different reasons. Um, which is like you didn't expect that. I mean, I only watch the stuff you send me, so I have a curated appreciation for wrestling, and we talk about it on here. Um, well, I don't consider it forcing. I just like to you to show me the stuff that is cool. Yeah, 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 yeah. That guy was on fire.
or impale with two lemons. That's always.
Yeah.
So can we talk about this? Or I know we're talking about wrestling and stuff, but can we talk about the Snyder Cut for a second?
Oh yeah.
Right. So Nathan, did you think it was by far the best version of that movie, and
Yes.
definitely was more in sync in theme and clarity of its idea?
Yes, I think the 4 hours gave. I mean, they're still operating within a bunch of deleted scenes. I don't know. They didn't do a lot of reshoots, from what I understand. So they're still operating in the world of deleted scenes and story things that they changed. But I watched two. I've watched both of them recently,
Mm-hmm.
and this one I just watched as a lark. Like I said, it's like, oh, I got 475 track links to put together, each with 3 pieces on it. So 4-hour movie, perfect. I'll maybe get a quarter of this project done. But yeah, I having watched the Justice League like a year ago and then seeing this one, it's like, oh yeah, this is better. Is it 100% better? No, it still has the same problem the original one did of kind of it's like, the big story just happens. And it's like, okay. There's this guy and that guy, and they're bad people from another universe, and they're doing stuff. And Yeah. Oh yeah, there's a backstory. There's like extra bad guys now because you got Steppenwolf, who's like sent to Earth to get these three cubes and put them together, and then it's like, oh wait, it's not just the cubes. The what is it? The mathematical theorem of unlife is on Earth, and so Steppenwolf's boss and that guy's boss are involved now, and it's like, oh, we must have this. We've butchered 100,000 worlds, and this will end all life. And whenever I hear that, it's like, well, that sounds strange. Aren't you a form of life too? But okay, whatever. But yeah, it was Steppenwolf was redesigned. He looked a little different instead of just like a horned demon guy in like leather. Now he's got some kind of reactive metallic armor all over his body. Yeah. Superman's all in black. It's not the Superman show. He shows up at the very end. He kind of does the same thing he did in the movies. He shows up at the end, but he doesn't necessarily just like, oh, Superman's here. Okay, everyone kick back. He's going to kill everyone. No, it didn't work quite that way. It gave the cyborg character's backstory and plot was super expanded. Instead of just being a sidekick with a red eye, like in the original one, he has a story and motivations and actually becomes a central character. I didn't realize, so I was watching the movie. I was like, oh, this is the guy who plays this is Miles Bennett Dyson from Terminator 2. That's his dad. I didn't put that together in the first movie. I watching this is like, oh, this guy has so much more parts to play. And like I said, I don't know anything about comic books, so I'm just watching this as a guy who watches movies. But yeah, if you got 4.5 hours, and also had like, I like the had title screens in the movie, like part 1, part 2, and each title had each part had a title. Yeah, yeah. Each section has a title and a thing. So yeah, I enjoyed this movie more. Would I have gone to the theater? No, it seems like a 4-hour movie. No, it was well because I watched it all in one bite. It seemed like a 4-hour movie. So
yeah, and I separated it in 2-hour chunks, so I watched 2 hours each night.
I mean, it just proves that Zack Snyder can direct a movie and make it cool. There's movies he's done I really like. This one I think was just so bloated with action. The first version of this. But I realized that he wasn't really directing that one, or wasn't finishing it. It was, yeah. But then the other guy had to come in and direct it, and then the studio demanded a bunch of post stuff be redone, and that's where it got.
Josh Whedon.
Yeah, they cut all that out.
Which is good because that really ruined the tone of the movie.
Yeah, they didn't have the funny Aquaman sitting on the lasso and their weird conversations. Like that didn't happen. They had other conversations, but everything was like moody, which kind of fit because Batman is just that character. Aquaman is basically Batman of the sea, kind of more of a fuck off guy, and then Wonder Woman is not the peacemaker in this, and also the Flash gets an expanded story too, because he's
Aquaman gets a little bit of expanded story too. I mean, I don't think the regular movie would have played out that way because did Aquaman come out after Justice League or before? Because like the story didn't seem to mesh very well, and my wife was really upset by the beginning with Superman getting killed by Doomsday in a different way. And so I don't know. I like the movie a lot. I think it improves upon everything that was the problem with the original movie. The only thing there's 2 nitpicks for me, which is the crashed plane at the end of the movie suddenly comes back totally fine to take him away. And then the Martian Manhunter scenes are just fucking stupid.
Well, one of the people he was pretending to be was the general. But they don't say in the original one. They don't say who he is.
Yeah.
Epilogue scene in the apocalypse scenario that from the Flash reveals to Bruce Wayne. Remember where it's like the doomed world where Superman's evil. Yeah. So yeah, Jared Leto comes back and does like a 12-minute dialogue as Joker.
And it's really good dialogue, though.
Yeah,
too.
it's well done. It's like,
And
I appreciate the Jared Leto Joker more now because that's kind of cool what they did. Yeah.
He's got like all these different police badges all over his vest on the front, and, like smeared lipstick all over. So I was like, he looks a lot better than he did in the other movie.
Yeah, that was an added scene. I don't think that was preloaded. Like the Martian Manhunter stuff, that was all extra scenes that just never made it. I mean, there's a website you can go to that breaks down everything that was changed, but it's like, oh wow, I don't have 20 hours to go through this website. Yeah.
I mean, all in all, I don't think the studio would have actually released that 4-hour cut. They probably would have chopped the shit out of it, and it wouldn't have been as beloved as it is now. But Chris Stuckman,
No. That was a big disappointment too. That Wonder Woman 84. I really had a lot of hopes for that based on the first one. It's like, oh, they're gonna do this better. It's like, no, it's not.
well, I mean, she's already confirmed to direct the third one, so we'll see how. Oh yeah, and that's what I just reminded of talking about movies. I tried renting a theater from Mr. Nobody on one of the days you were off, or just like a weekend day where maybe you could get the day off. Colin, everything was reserved for that entire week, and they're not showing the movie after this the coming week. The one with fucking guy Better Call Saul, where it's like the John Wick character. Because I was like the 26th this month, so 6 days from now. Because I was like, that'd be an interesting movie to see in theaters, and I can call you and Matt, and bring my wife, and everybody can bring whoever the fuck they want, because you can get up to 20 people in there for $100. So, but didn't work out. No fucking showings available, so I'm kind of pissed. So, sorry. Well, because we talked about it, but I didn't know if there's actually any movies anybody was actually thinking about seeing. Because I was surprised Mr. Nobody wasn't going to be streaming at the same time it was in theaters, but it says only in theaters, which I think is probably a bad move on their part. But okay. Yeah, because I know you talked about it before. I just forgot if it was actually in theaters right now, if it was actually available to buy. What the fuck? What the fuck? Cubs prospect arrested after they found 21 pounds of meth in his equipment bag. I'm just
Meth.
looking at the picture, and yeah, it's full of meth. It's chock full of meth, and it's like, why would you bring that somewhere? It's fucking retard.
Yeah. We're now in the realm of the impossible. Well, I take it they're not going to pick him up then. Probably not going to give him a contract.
Okay, sorry, 21 pounds of methamphetamine and 1.2 pounds of oxidone. So he had more. Okay, so this is okay. Camargo, 25. He didn't give the first name. Was an IFA signing out of Mexico back in 2014. He last pitched high A in 2019. He would have been due to practice in minor league spring training in 2 weeks, and presumably would have opened at high A Bend or Double A Tennessee. So it's a minor league player that had.
Yeah, his stats aren't what is interesting though. It's the 21 pounds of methamphetamine
and 1.2 pounds of oxy. That got it.
1.2. Oh, that must be to come down.
Yeah, I guess.
The edge off.
They caught him while he was driving it to Colorado for spring training. Jesus. Fucking Christ.
So weird. All right. Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Oh, okay. Wow. Okay. Okay.
No, explain it for me.
That's yeah. Okay, go ahead. Yeah, explain it.
Okay. That's cool.
Okay. Okay. Right. Hmm. Oh, okay. Yeah, it's if they weren't, it'd be weird. Okay. Huh. Yeah, it's just like hoping against hope. We'll have to see what happens this year. Yeah, I always just watch them after the fact. Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah, I was gonna say that sounds up. Oh, okay. How long has it been since they've run one here? 2 years ago. No, okay. Well, they'll have to. At that point, people just start breaking in, demanding drive something fast around the track. Oh yeah, yeah. Oh, just because it's not too hot and it's not too humid. It's a lot. That's a lot. That is a lot. Well, now that I know who some of the drivers are because of last year, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see what happens, who's doing what, because this is it's, like you're talking about all the technology changes and stuff, and it could be interesting. Just
He is. Oh,
yeah. There's no like come from behind guys. I mean, I'm sure there are some. Yeah.
well, that's good.
Yeah.
Okay. No, it's just something where, like, when I think about rooting for people that always win, it's not really. Yeah, I mean, I know they're gonna win, and I, accept it. But at the same time, I don't really root for those teams. Like, hmm. Hmm.
Nope.
Hmm. Oh, okay. Hmm.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. Oh,
Hmm.
oh, okay.
Hmm.
Yeah, I remember that race. I was like, did that guy just drive straight into that wall? And it's like, well, and the cars were running around the track, and then there's everyone slowing down. I was like, oh, this guy's. They're not like going back to him. Is he dead? And then you find out, no, he was up and out. But it looked bad. Looked really bad. because it just looked like he just went straight into a wall, like 160 miles an hour. I was like, that can't be good. Yeah, well, yeah. When whatever the containment you have the fuel in is when it goes from 160 to 0 in like 4 feet, it's like it's gonna break or it's gonna crush someone if it doesn't. But yeah, yeah. It was a vapor explosion, is what you're saying. Yeah. Weight. Well, then you got something stored under pressure, like burst. Yeah, they're driving and all of a sudden just wipe. Like, "Ah!" Was it the Russians? Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Oh, yeah. The saunas are like 180 degrees or something insane like that. They're really hot. I know that. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. If you get thrown into an icy lake and pulled out before hypothermia sets in, that will also boost all those things. Okay. Yeah. All right. So we watched a movie this week. We watched the yes, considered one of the best movies of 1984, which is a crowded field. Yeah, it was said
Yeah.
one of the best, not the best.
Oh, okay.
It's a movie with an interesting past. You can do a little research on. I mean, just a real basic rundown is the studio didn't have any confidence in it. So Michael Douglas got like $8 million, and it's like he was the producer. And he was like, okay, we're going to make a movie. And then he got Robert Zemeckis, and they filmed it primarily in Mexico and the United States. And when they showed it to the studio heads after it was filmed, but not yet released, they fired Robert Zemeckis from Cocoon because they said it was so bad. It's like, because they didn't have any confidence in Robert Zemeckis to direct this movie anyway, because of previous two movies lost money. So, but then, yeah, it made a lot more money for its budget because it made like $125 million on a $9 million budget. And it was not like super promoted because they did go in and do a rework on it. They hired script people to come in and they kind of re-edited it after re-edited it. Yeah, that was to kind of like, yeah, that was an add-on to establish more about her character and to make what was the thing? It was kind of like it was kind of the dreamy quality of parts of this movie where it's like, is this real or is this in her mind? Which is sort of like something that hung over it for the whole time. And I haven't seen. I watched this movie in 3 parts over 14 days, which is it's a weird, a lot of things going on, but nothing bad. But just like the time I had, because I finished watching it like Wednesday night. So, but there's a lot of things I learned about this movie. As I forgot how beautiful Kathleen Turner was, and how you didn't really hear about her a whole lot after the 80s. She's still around. Somebody fall out of their chair?
No, sorry, I moved my chair. Sorry.
Oh, okay. So we'll make sure everyone's still upright. Oh, okay. It's a lot of whiskey, from what I understand. It's a very it's a tone. This is what else it hinted around as like why she wasn't a huge actor through the 90s and stuff was because of like, oh, okay, she was she liked the bottle, I guess. I don't know if that's true, but that's what I heard. And doing research for the movie, that's what I heard. Can't believe how old everyone is now that was in this movie. Yeah, that's weird to think about, but yeah, that's because like a lot of the guys that played like the characters in or were they Columbia? Yeah, Columbia. Like those guys are in their 90s now. A lot of them. Like the guy who played General Zolo or Colonel Zolo, and then the guy who was like the prototypical like Pablo Escobar or whatever guy, the fan of all the books. Is like, yeah, that guy's 90 now too. It's like, oh wow, okay. But yeah, this is an interesting action movie for the 80s because it drew a lot of like unfair comparisons to Indiana Jones. Like, oh, they just ripped that off. It's like, well, no, not really. Not if you watch the movie, but Yeah. Well, it's just that. Yeah, yeah. It wasn't like the most original idea ever conceived either, but just yeah. Yeah, and it's also unusual to have a female protagonist for the whole movie, but she is the main character, like, because Michael Douglas doesn't show up until, what, 30 minutes into the movie? It's all a bunch of her adventures with her publicist. Yeah. Yeah, well, she's a lonely. I mean, that's the conceit of the story. She's a successful romance writer. I think is she in New York or LA? I think it's New York. Yeah, she's a successful like romance novelist, but like a nice one. Not she doesn't write like just biographical porn. She likes like romance stories that people want to read. And then her sister's husband gets killed, and they're holding her hostage, and they want this map, and it leads to some hijinks in New York, and then she ends up heading down to good old Columbia. Yeah, Danny DeVito's kind of a bad guy, comic relief guy, and he's always on the phone. Ira, you're not going to believe this. You're the luckiest son of a bitch alive. Because he's like, I can't find him. I can't find him. He's on like a phone, like a payphone. You know, kids, you can look that up. And then he turns around, and there they are in that chopped down Bronco that the drug dealer has. It's like, oh yeah.
It was.
I think that's just a Bronco, full size Bronco with some kind of, but it had a lot. Put a big engine in it and some exhaust pipes, and then have a remote controlled bridge jump from Dukes of Hazzard.
I was looking at the trivia, how many people turned down the role of Jack D. Colton. Clint Eastwood, Jack Nicholson, Sylvester Stallone, and Christopher Reeves all turned down the part.
It'd be weird to have Jack Nicholson in that role.
Or I think any of them, really. I mean,
Yeah, Clint Eastwood would set a different. Oh. Yeah.
Oh, also Paul Newman. Yeah, they do.
I think so. Yeah. I mean, the story moved. Yeah.
Oh, I guess also Paul Newman turned down the role of Jack T. Colton. And then Jessica Lange turned down the part of, oh, God damn it.
Joan.
Yeah.
No. But this was a great, like, 80s action movie. Yeah. It's probably going to be a Criterion edition of this, but it was every 80s action movie you've ever seen, all with everything rolled into it. It's like, oh, I remember this, I remember that, and like nobody really dies, but then it takes a dark turn sometimes where a lot of people die. Well, not a lot, but yeah, it's
Yes.
yeah. Oh, he's from the Lucas School of Directors. Actors just act. Do your thing. What am I paying you for? What's my motivation? Money?
Sure.
Why do you think you're fucking here? You went to acting school. I went to UCLA Film School. I'm an artist. You're just an actor. Or wherever they went to school. I don't know. definitely. Yeah. I could see that. Um, don't count out Alfred Hitchcock. He was good at oh, well, he was good at like filming things in such a way the actors didn't know exactly what was going on. Like a lot of the Psycho stuff, they had to kind of walk a line because you know you had the League of Decency back then. Um, yeah, yeah. There's definitely some guys that are more visual. Um, yeah, I'm trying to think of. Yeah, Scorsese always struck me as like is writing too, like the snappy dialogue. Now I don't know if that comes from him or the actors he hires or how he writes the dialogue or it's a merging of the three because you know Scorsese's like the long shot. Like we got a lot of things going on, and this guy's providing narration, and this guy's getting shot over in the corner, and but the camera's always moving around. And um, I think Casino was kind of the apex of that. It's like, well, the whole opening credit scene of the movie is a guy in a car that explodes and just him kind of tumbling through the air, which sounds weird, but is really cool. I don't know how he sold that, but it worked.
No, I mean Casino is still my favorite Scorsese movie for a reason. I love that movie.
Yeah. It's kind of the just like the essence of it's like concentrated Scorsese is what Casino is. It's not the most likable bunch of people. Quentin Tarantino is all dialogue and long shots. His power with the actors is getting them to convincingly like this because so much of that's dialogue driven. It's like some of those things, if you pay attention, it's that guy just gave a 12-minute speech about sex or about drugs or about something, and the camera basically just moved between him and who he was talking to in a way. I'm like I said, I'm not an expert on filmmaking and camera motion, but Scorsese's all like actors. And everything looks cool. I don't know how much of that is him and how much that's the director of photography he's working with and the kind of cameras he wants to do some kooky shit with cameras sometimes. But the thing that stands out with me with Tarantino is like this is very believable dialogue. I know people that talk this way. I maybe don't necessarily know killers and drug dealers, but I know like, oh, I believe this conversation we're having right now, or not I'm having, but the people are having in the movie. Yeah. Yeah.
So I'd say the ending of this movie where she leaves her cat to die in her apartment when she goes off on the sailboat is kind of depressing. Well, because I didn't tell you guys had mentioned it, or like, oh yeah, I forgot. Just because I was arguing, my wife was like, "Well, I hope everything in that apartment was totally fine without her." She just went off in the world on the sailboat. Yeah,
Oh, it was okay.
they wanted to make her seem more likable. I mean,
Ronald
I wouldn't.
Reagan apparently liked this movie a lot.
Who did?
Ronald Reagan.
Oh, that's not necessarily a ringing endorsement for me, but
Well, you got to think of the studio system he came up in and kind of how this was made. This is sort of like a love letter to old movies too, because you know you've got everyone's looking for this jewel and it's a treasure hunt and it's you know hijinks and it's a lot of like you know those big 80s action scenes where nobody really gets hurt and sliding through the jungle and mudslides is fun. They did that everywhere in the 80s. They did it in this, they did it in Predator, they, you know, Indiana Jones. It's like, no, you never get like, you know, parasites from that in the movie. So that's not, yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. It's probably why it was raining all the time.
Mm.
Just shit on the set. Doesn't matter. Everyone's got the trots. It's just part of working down here.
Mhm.
But you know what you don't see down here? Water treatment facilities. Yeah. Just eating in the trailer. Boiling water everywhere. Yeah, that's it's there's some good dialogue in this movie. Or there's some good one-liners in this movie too. Yes. Burning bales of marijuana. He just sticks his head in it. And he looks like someone that's like, oh yeah, this guy really like Michael Douglas knows a lot about marijuana or drugs because he seemed to really be into that scene.
Mm.
My favorite is what's the middle initial? Because his name's
Oh,
Jack T. Colton. It's like
yeah, T for trust.
It's like, oh, that's amazing. I don't know why. I think it was the way he delivered it more than the quality of the line, but it's like, oh, that's cool.
No, when they get in that plane and she's talking about like, oh, it's weed. Like, oh, I went to college, and I was like, just proof that if you stop people from going to college, there'd be 0% of people smoking weed in this country.
Yeah, because that's the only place you find weed in America. These college campuses.
Overall, it was a better movie than I thought it would be. Like, I still didn't like it, but it was better than I thought it would be. No, it was the first time I've seen it. I really thought like all the characters, except for the two main leads, like I didn't really understand what the hell was going on as far as like why they were like always like, followed really closely, even though they shouldn't necessarily know where she's going. And like the whole kidnap angle seemed kind of weird and not that fleshed out. But like, other than that, like it's not a bad movie. Like all the pieces put together, it's just I didn't care for it. Because I watched the trailer for the next movie, just like, oh, okay, I want to see where this goes in a sequel. Because it was like talking about the woman that wrote that movie died in a car crash before that movie came out. But she seemed to really, the next sequel is like another. Yeah, and it's like another Indiana Jones-esque story with like running away from Arabs in the middle of the desert type of thing. Which I don't know if it sounds like that one's not as well regarded as the first one.
No.
Uh-huh. Oh, okay. Because I was like, oh, I could rent it for $4 and watch it, but I'm like, No, I know. No, because like I found it really weird that he found the alligator or crocodile or whatever at the end with the gem in it. It was like you had it and you let it go to save her, even though she saved herself. But somehow you found that when there was a million other crocodiles or alligators around. I call bullshit. Unless he just chucked a fake one into the water and kept the real one or something. But yeah, I don't know. I know, but like Danny DeVito's character was fine. I liked him in it, but like I didn't think his character really had a purpose in it. Like I know he's kind of the extension of, yeah, like he did. Well, because I guess they were roommates, and then Michael Douglas like got his big break and move, but he still paid rent, and then he got Danny DeVito that role, and then that's what Danny DeVito says helped his career break out. I'm like, oh, okay. I didn't say that. I was talking about like where Michael Douglas first got work. I think it was like San Francisco something. I can't. I thought it was late '70s, early '80s, but yeah, I guess I don't know. I don't know if he just meant in movie roles or if he meant just in general. But That seems weird compared to. Yeah, I was gonna say there's still a little bit of divide with that, but I wouldn't say it's that big a deal. I mean, mm, yeah. Well, I mean, there's a new limited one. Is Ballers even still on? Oh, I didn't know about that one because I was gonna ask what the second show was. Romancing the Stone, otherwise known as How to Get the Rock into Bed. You twist his nipples and. Oh yeah, the Disney tugboat fucking ride movie. I can't remember the damn name of it now, but it has Emily Clark in it. Yeah, it looked really stupid and shitty. They're just not good, sir. I don't know how to say it. They're not good. Well, I mean, there's a few standout movies like The Rundown. That's actually pretty good. As far as like some of the Fast and Furious ones. Oh, okay. Jungle Cruise is the movie.
Jan de Bont was the director of photography or cinematographer in this movie. Yeah.
Sorry, it's Emily Blunt in The Rock in that stupid movie. I guess where's Young Rock even on? Is that like NBC or something? Okay.
The Peacock Forest. That'll be a good jump.
Yeah.
Yeah. That will definitely happen.
Because I mean, otherwise, I mean, I know after Back to the Future 2 isn't shit. Oh, okay. I didn't know if we are gonna do that one or not, since we talked about one of the Back to the Future franchise movies.
Yeah.
Mm.
I actually own that movie. Watch that on DVD.
Mm.
Uh-oh. News report just came up in the upper right-hand corner. Miami Beach has declared a state of emergency because so many people have showed up that there's no way that anyone's following any rules. Yeah. I mean, I don't think anyone was following rules anyway.
Well, as far as director, the next movie after Forrest Gump is Contact, and then it's What Lies Beneath. Yeah, probably. I'm not gonna try and listen to it necessarily, but yeah, I'd like to really see that movie still. So. Oh, okay.
Which one's that? Oh yeah, okay, yeah. Right. That is cool. Can also read the was it did Carl Sagan write the book too? Okay. You can read the book and then a movie.
Well, I just did finish the Twilight or the new True History book from the London Blitz raids in World War II. That was really good and weird, but really good. Oh, the Contact and the Best Shot. Oh,
Oh
okay.
really? Wow.
I mean, I know. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, that sounds like something. I remember that one. That's a weird one. Frighteners.
I don't know. I own that movie now. I like it. Like it's not a perfect movie. It's not like a great movie, but it's a good movie.
Oh, Lovely Creatures or whatever. It's a big jump. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Done and done.
Well, the only thing he's got in the can for Peter Jackson is a Beatles documentary and The Adventures of Tintin: Red Rackman's Treasure. So I'm guessing the Tintin animation movie sequel. I didn't have a chance to, no.
Yes, me and Grayson watched it. Yes, it's sad, but it's interesting. It's mostly restored footage and then dialogue as these people would speak, how they looked. It had some stories about, well, this is what happened to this guy, and this is what happened to that guy, and
Yeah, Mortal Kombat's less than a month away. Woo.
I always regret with Peter Jackson that I never got a chance to build one of his models because he's really into models. Yeah, that's like the World War. They made a lot of World War One planes, and he was going to do the Dam Busters series for World War Two, which was based on kind of a cool story about the guys who made the Skipper bombs to hit the dams and flood the German the Ruhr Valley. And I was going to build because I'm really World War One stuff. Like I'm not going to spend $180 on a World War One biplane because it's not my thing. I'm sure they're great, but I will do the World War II planes, but then they've well, first they went out of business because of COVID and it was too hard to fulfill their international orders and all kinds of stuff. But then I heard it's like a lot of Peter Jackson ventures. It's like he has a lot of passion, but when it comes to the making money aspect of it, not so much. People take advantage. I've been taken advantage of a few times. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, the Dam Busters models had the what do they call that? It's where the aluminum plate is riveted onto the aluminum ribs of the plane, like from the pressure changes from high and low atmosphere, they would start to puff after many, many missions. It's really hard to emulate in a model and make it look realistic, but they did. That's why the model costs $500 too. Because you can achieve the same like sucked in effect with a scalpel. If you're like a lunatic, like some of those German model builders, will they go find the original blueprints and kind of map out on the model where the structural ribs were under the sheet aluminum, and they can make them look sucked in. But these guys made them look expanded, like they were at lower altitudes. I was gonna buy one. I was gonna buy the big Dam Busters model, just because I think it's a cool story. But they didn't end up working out. So,
Well, there's Wingnut Wings, which is owned by Peter Jackson.
yeah, that's the ones. That's the people I'm talking about.
Okay. Well, because they're right now, like, there's a $79 model on here, the Fokker E4, and there's quite a few $129 or $200 models, but not anything above $269 that I'm seeing.
Yeah, they never. I mean, that's all what you call new old stock that they're just liquidating out of their inventory.
Okay.
But they're not making any of the new, like the World War II stuff they were going to make.
Oh, okay.
Which I was kind of excited, because I know some guys that have made those, and they're like, "Oh, those are wonderful." And the instruction books they come with, they're like full color. They have pictures of the actual pilots, and like, this is his story, and it's a real love letter to like World War I aircraft and the men who flew them, and the quality of the stuff they do. I mean, they like ship you copper wires to wrap around stuff, so because that's like, this is what this really looked like. And okay. Oh wait.
Excuse me.
Hold on, let me get this up.
No, that's not it. Oh,
Yeah, I
sorry.
did it. The link wasn't working. Oh, okay. So this is a guy. These are the Dollhouse people. Yeah, this stuff's next level here. Wow. It's like a real glazed tile in that kitchen. Yep, you can get a lot of money wrapped up into that.
Oh, come on.
Oh, he's on like the shadow box stuff. Oh yeah.
That's all 40K.
I don't know what scale this. What are they working in here? I like the cabinet stove for $1,100. Oh, they're 1/12 scale. That's pretty big.
Jeez, $4,200 for this bathroom.
Well, let's commission him. Make my childhood bedroom. This is all the weird shit I had in there. Like, is this a room where a schizophrenic lives? Oh yeah, getting that like glazed tile work. That's crazy. I'd like to know how he does that.
So for commissions, pricing for each piece for a room varies on size and detail from $2,000 to $20,000. Full houses begin at $40,000 for a 4-room structure, and up to $200,000 for a structure with 15 rooms. Yeah, I know. Well, I want 42 rooms. It was like $2 million. What the hell?
Well, I like how they have mold in the grout and stuff. Like that's crazy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, like these. Oh man, they got the penny tiles on the floor too. How the fuck does he do that? A microscope. Well, 1/12 scale is pretty big, but still, those little hexagonal tiles and multicolors with grime in them. That's like days and weeks worth of work right there. None of that's happening quickly. Oh, and that bar of soap looks real. Oh, that's nuts. I like that. That's my kind of lunacy.
God damn. Sorry, I finally went to the gallery to look at stuff, and I was instead of the what was for sale.
Mm.
You know, I wonder how long it takes to do a room or a house.
Probably a year or more. Well, no. That's all you're doing? 6 weeks, maybe? Oh, it depends on what he's. I don't even know what his mediums. Yeah, it depends. Like with that tile and stuff. Like, there's all kinds of questions I could ask. Like, are you taking a full size tile and just grinding those in? Or are you taking little tile chips and making them that size and smearing grout over them and wiping them off like they do in real life? And there's a lot of things there. Like, what kind of depth is there to that grout? Like on the walls, it looks that looks like concaved filling in of how you fill grout in for tiles and stuff. And so that's like, I mean, again, this is what you need one of those things that I want, the production microscopes. Move it along. But he's making money, so he can afford a $3,000 production. Oh yeah, I love watching those guys on YouTube do that. It's like these people are amazing. Someone did a Bell helicopter, 1/42nd scale. That's pretty small. I mean, had all the interior. Like the guy had, like they had a mechanic, Vietnam era Bell troop helicopter. The classic Vietnam ones. Guy on a ladder, had the hatch up. It was all model. All the interior components of Bell helicopter, like a wire looms, pipes, the engine. The model didn't come with that stuff originally. This guy just fabricated that all in. And it's like, oh man. And he's working in, I mean, the thing was probably this big, tip to tail. He's putting all that detail into it. Like, I'm impressed. I'm working with this giant, like 1/16 scale tank. It's like, oh, I can put a lot of cool stuff in this, but I couldn't do it at that scale. I mean, it's like thread. Some of those guys make pipes and like hoses. They'll take like sewing thread and dip it in super glue and just shape it. And then they'll paint it like, we'll have like in a lot of aeronautics, like, what do they call that? Like high voltage power wires and stuff. It's all like, it's black and yellow, like for a caution stripe. Okay. There's a dude's painting a piece of thread, in that scale. It's like, oh man, how do you do it? How do you do it? And there's not a simple answer. I've seen the guys do this stuff. It's like, oh, it's just incredibly hard. Okay. It's like a dude with one hair on a brush and he's got like giant lenses and he's just like, Yeah. Not seeing you scream fuck and throwing it across the room and having to go buy another one and start over. And like, what are you upset about? Like, you wouldn't understand. Get the fuck out of my face. It's like, oh, did your toys break?
That's why the picture I sent of my light has a nice hole in the fucking wall, because that was years ago when I started modeling and I couldn't get this one little fucking piece of shit to finally stick, and I couldn't even use tweezers to it. So I was like, fucking just like punch the wall like once. And I was like, oh, there's no nothing behind. I'm like, fuck. Yeah.
Somebody had this perfect thing on one of my model things on Facebook. It had, the guy had gray colored carpet and he had a piece fly off. It either flew out of the tweezers or he was cutting it off the sprue. And it showed a picture of him finding the piece. And it said, "Not today, Satan." The carpet and the piece were almost the exact same color. Like your chances of finding that were not high. There wasn't a good probability of that. Yeah, I don't hit stuff much with model making anymore, but I will be in here like doing something, and Stacy will be in the other room, and I'll get it together, and I'll be like, "Yeah, fuck you," and she's like, "What are you talking to?" This Panzer. He finally went in. Like, you said that really loud. I was like, I know. It's a celebration. Fuck you celebration. Yeah, it's a happy fuck you. All right, guys. Well, that's all I got for this week. The tank is empty, so unless you got anything else.
Nope.
This week for the American Greed Factory podcast, this is Nathan.
Andrew.